Welcome back to Boilers and Beyond. I'm Jordan Jones. We're back here today with another instant reaction type podcast as Purdue gets to the Sweet 16 for the seventh time in the last 9 NCAA tournaments. Purdue beats Miami here today, 79-69, to move on and head out to San Jose for the West Regional next week. Just going to kind of dive in, my thoughts, my takeaways from the week. In a couple days here, we'll do a preview podcast for the Sweet 16 West Regional. Take a bigger look at the first two rounds of the NCAA tournament, all of that. But just more here today to talk about Purdue and what it's done. If you don't, be sure that you follow the show on Twitter at Boilers Beyond. We're talking all things Purdue basketball there, talking all things NCAA tournament. Come join the conversation. Send me some questions as well for the second pod this week. Any Purdue basketball questions you have, send them to me on Twitter. Email me, boilersandbeyondpod@gmail.com. And be sure that you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so that you don't miss an episode. But Purdue moves on. It got a comfortable win, 33-point win over Queens in the first round, and then really got tested by Miami in the round of 32, which happens. I'm just pressing record here after Iowa beat Florida in a 9-1 upset that I never in a million years would have seen coming. So, that's part of the deal in this tournament, is even when you are a really highly seeded team, when you're a 1 seed, when you're a 2 seed like Purdue is, you are going to get in a situation where even if that first game is a bit of a breeze, is something where, you win comfortably the way Purdue did in this game against Queens, that second game, it's real. At that point, it's real. You're playing good teams. You're playing teams that can beat you if you don't play well. And Purdue certainly saw that in Miami. The Queens game, I don't have a ton to say. It was a very classic mid-major team where Queens was small. Queens looked to spread Purdue out and attack it. And at times, Queens did have some success on the offensive end. But at the end of the day, Purdue was so efficient on offense. Purdue got whatever it wanted. Over 1.55 points per possession is just ridiculous in terms of offensive efficiency. And Purdue was getting good looks all night. Queens had no answers for Purdue, as you would expect would be the case. Purdue doubled up Queens on the glass. It played really, really well. And it was everything you could have wanted, especially after it wasn't a dominant first half from Purdue. But I think something worth noting here is that Purdue faced some game pressure in both of these games. And it's not like the Queens game was all this game pressure on Purdue, but I did tweet out at halftime of that game. I said it's a big first 4 minutes of the second half, because when you're in these situations, the longer you let the underdog keep its head above water, the harder and harder it gets. I wasn't in St. Louis. I think Purdue had a decent fan contingent there, but I don't think it was the way it was for Florida in Tampa earlier, the way it was for Purdue a couple of years ago when it played the opening weekend in Indianapolis. The longer you let the underdog stick around, the more the buildup just gets going. The more you feel it in the arena, the more everyone across the country starts tuning in. Just ask Duke how that went against Siena, right? You don't want that to be the case, and Purdue handled that really, really well. And then against Miami, Purdue faced some massive game pressure early on. Purdue got off to a nice start. It was 19-12. Purdue was feeling pretty good about itself. And then Miami went on a run. And at one point, Miami led by 7 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. And C.J. Cox buries 3 threes in a row for Purdue to tie it up. Miami scores before the half. But Purdue was really probably fortunate to only be down 2 at halftime after some of the turnover problems it had in the first half. It had 7. It wasn't Braden Smith's best day. He goes 3 for 12 from the field, has 8 turnovers to go with his 8 assists. Miami did some really good things. Miami's a good team. Jay Lucas is a really good coach. That's one to keep an eye on here in the future because he's got the goods to do what he did this year in year one at Miami, walking into a situation where it just won 7 games last year. That was really, really impressive. Miami has athletes. Miami has some size. Miami out-rebounded Purdue by a notable margin, 33-25. Miami got 14 offensive rebounds. That wasn't ideal for Purdue, but in the second half of that game, you saw Purdue do a much better job at containing the dribble, and at that point, Miami's water kind of got shut off. Miami wasn't getting as good of looks, and when Purdue was making Miami even take tough shots around the rim, it's not like Miami was great at that. Not a very deep team. 4 of Miami's starters played at least 33 minutes. 3 of them played 36. Sheldon Henderson played all 40. Purdue kind of wore Miami down by the end of it, but Miami was really good. Miami played that game really well. I think the big story, of course, from the first 2 rounds is Braden Smith getting that NCAA assist record. Just a really incredible accomplishment. We can sit here and talk all day about the Braden Smith story, about a really small, really under-recruited kid from Westfield who Purdue was his only high major offer, comes in, has started every game he's ever played at Purdue, and will leave Purdue as the all-time leading assist man in NCAA history. If Jeremy Fears up at Michigan State doesn't end up breaking that record, boy, it could be a while before you see that go down. Guys like that don't come around all that often. What Braden Smith has done is just remarkable, and he was great in that opening round game against Queens. And he hit a couple big shots down the stretch. He hit some big free throws against Miami. The turnovers happened, but I think back to last year when Braden Smith, I believe, also had 8 turnovers in the game against McNeese, and that set up a game with Houston where he was a magician. I believe it was 15 assists he had in that game. He was incredible at handling everything that Houston threw at him. And if you're Purdue, you're just hoping for that kind of bounce back after this one that was a little bit shaky. Purdue's seniors have been outstanding, though, and this goes back to the Big Ten tournament where they were phenomenal, but you saw it continue. Purdue's seniors were great in the game against Queens, all of them. Oscar Clough has 11 rebounds and 5 assists, 4 blocked shots. Kaufman-Renn has 25 points. Smith, 26, 8 assists. Fletcher Lawyer hits 4 threes. I mean, that is what you want to see. The NCAA tournament, and there are times where a guy who's a bit of an unsung hero, like Luke Hancock for Louisville, comes in and has a big game, but more often than not, it is your best players that determine your fate in the NCAA tournament. You are riding with your guys to get to where you end up getting. And Purdue's best guys were terrific in this first 2 rounds in St. Louis. You look at the game against Miami where Kaufman-Renn really gets Purdue going early. He finishes with 19, 9 rebounds, hits all 3 of his free throws. That was a big deal for Purdue. It goes 21 for 22 at the free throw line in a game where it never really felt in jeopardy in the last 4 or 5 minutes, but Miami did make it a little bit interesting. I think the lead got down to 4, and then Purdue hit some free throws. Really, really big deal. Fletcher Lawyer was fabulous. 24 points on 7 shots, 8 of 8 from the foul line. He has been so good for Purdue recently, and it all came kind of when a switch flipped. January was not a good month for him. He didn't shoot the ball well. It got incredibly toxic, like it always does around him. The way folks have talked about him at times is so far off from the reality of him as a player that it's mind-boggling. But He's shot incredibly well recently, coming up really on 2 months now where he's been lights out, shooting around 50% from three. But he's doing all the little things too. He's really playing a nice role for Purdue right now, obviously as a big-time scorer, but he's in there fighting for rebounds when he's not the most naturally inclined rebounder. He's out there fighting for loose balls. He's doing everything you want him to do. And that's such a big deal for Purdue in this event. And the same for Trey Kaufman-Renn. He's been great. He's done everything you want. He's really found that push shot again that wasn't always there earlier on in the season. He's been awesome. Oscar Clough has just been great. And you've seen Purdue really ride with these guys. All four of Purdue seniors play at least 32 minutes in the game against Miami. That's what you're going to see next weekend as well. This is when you ride and die with your guys. There is no tomorrow unless you live today. That's where you're at. And Purdue's seniors were awesome again. And you saw the unsung guys step up a little bit. CJ Cox isn't some unsung hero, but he hits those 3 big threes to really keep Purdue afloat in the first half. When if Purdue was down 8 at half, it still could have come back and won, and the final score would tell you Purdue still wins, but it feels a lot better when you're only down 2. And then he gets hurt early in the second half, and Jakari Harris comes in, knocks down a big 3, does a nice job defensively. That was someone stepping up when Purdue really needed it. That's everything you could have hoped for. It was a really, really nice win for Purdue to dig deep and find a way, even when it wasn't the prettiest. 12 turnovers is too many. Getting out-rebounded isn't a sustainable way to go about things, but as the old saying goes in the NCAA tournament, all you can do is survive and advance, and that's what Purdue has done here. It's all Purdue has done for the last 2 weeks. When you go back to the Big Ten tournament, the UCLA game was not the most visually appealing at times, but Purdue found a way. It was tied. I think Purdue finished on an 8-0 run to go win that basketball game. And that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing the team that you hope to see at the start of the season. And while I'm no psychologist, I'm not around to know what caused some of the ups and downs during the regular season. This has been a really, really nice stretch of basketball for Purdue where when it's avoiding turnovers, it's been great offensively. It shoots 53% from the field, 57% from 3 in this game, even with the super bouncy basketballs that you have in the NCAA tournament, even with what frankly was not a well-officiated game against Miami. And I'm not one that likes to do that, but it hasn't been a good start to the NCAA tournament from an officiating standpoint across the board. Purdue didn't let that rattle it, though. Purdue really stayed composed. Purdue didn't let a deficit get to it, and Purdue comes out alive to move on, and it's all you can ask for. It's all you can ask for. We've seen Purdue really trim that rotation a little bit. Daniel Jacobson plays just 2 minutes in this game. Who knows what the backcourt minutes would have looked like had CJ Cox not gotten hurt, but Omer Meyer only plays 11 minutes. Jakari Harris winds up with 18, but in the first half, Jakari Harris plays just 5 minutes. Purdue's really whittling this thing down. You're seeing Purdue ride with its guys, and it's just really, really strong basketball at the right time of the year. As Purdue goes into the regional, and I'll do a much more deep dive into this later in the week, but as Purdue goes into the regional, everything's on the table for it. It probably got a favorable matchup with Texas. Of course, we're 4 years removed from Purdue having the most favorable matchup in the Sweet 16, and it didn't go Purdue's way. But right now, I think when you look at what Purdue is doing, it feels really sustainable. When it's not turning the basketball over, it's been so good on offense to where you just need the defense to do enough, and the defense has been doing enough. When you get down to it, Miami shot 51% in the first half, and then it shot just 36% in the second half. It goes 1 for 11 from 3. Purdue did enough there. Turned the ball over a bunch. Also turned the ball over 12 times. Gotcha. Turned the ball over 12 times. Purdue did a great job on Malik Reneau and Trey Donaldson. Those two didn't get going. They had 29 points, but it came on 30 shots. Purdue forced Malik Reneau to turn the ball over 7 times. That's how you handle it. That's how you handle it. And the Sheldon Henderson kid is really good, but he doesn't beat you from 3. You live with 2s at times. You can't live with 3s. And Purdue didn't let anyone from Miami really get going from deep. Trey Donaldson goes 4 for 15 from the floor, is a minus 15. You like that. You like all of that a lot. It was a really nice win for Purdue. It avoided the letdown in the opening round. It handled Queens pretty easily, especially in that second half when Purdue was just ridiculous in the second half. 1.8 points per possession. That's bonkers. Scoring on 78% of your possessions. That's abnormal, to put it mildly. But really good stuff from Purdue. Matt Painter got his 500th win at Purdue in the game against Miami. Just a real testament to what he has built at Purdue. He, of course, deflected it all in his post-game media availability when he talks about the players making it. And he's right. He's right. I mean, players make coaches a lot of the times, but what he's built at Purdue has been really sustainable through some really volatile times in the sport. And quite frankly, what he's done in these most volatile times has been some of his best work. This has been some of the best Purdue basketball we've ever seen, if not the best 5-year stretch of Purdue basketball ever. It probably is. That's not normal when you look at the landscape of the sport. I had the thought earlier. Kansas missed the Sweet 16 for the 4th straight year. Purdue's been to 7 of the last 9 Sweet 16s. That's become the norm at Purdue. The norm is making the Sweet 16. You don't see some big celebration from Purdue for making the Sweet 16. That's a strong reflection of what Purdue has done over time and what Matt Painter has built, because making the Sweet 16 is a big deal. You're playing on to that second weekend, that's a big deal. And then if you can get past the Sweet 16 game, you're playing for a chance at the Final Four. The Elite Eight's a really big deal. It's not treated as such in the sport because you don't have the week-long build-up. The whole sport doesn't descend on it. But Elite Eights are a really big deal. And Purdue is going to have a very real chance to get to its 3rd Elite Eight under Matt Painter and have a chance to get to its 2nd Final Four under Matt Painter. It's been a really good run here. It really has been. And as you look ahead, everything's possible. And wow, Arizona's only up 7 with 8.5 to go against Utah State. That's strange. If that goes a different way, we're going to have a different conversation on the show in a couple of days. But Purdue's where you want to be. This is Purdue playing its best basketball at the right time of the year. This is Purdue digging deep and finding a way to win a game that a less mature team might not have. This is Purdue overcoming an injury to a key player who was playing really well for you. It sounds like CJ Cox is going to be all right. Hyperextended knee. He, in his post-game media availability, he said he's fine. We'll see how things go throughout the week. We'll probably have an update before we talk again, but as a whole, this was a strong performance from Purdue. It did everything it needed to do, and now it gets rewarded with a little bracket luck with Texas. Not that game will come easily. And goodness, if something happens with Arizona, that'd be wild, but I don't anticipate it. This is all on the table for Purdue right now. So that's what I've got for today. Again, more of an instant reaction. Not a ton to say about these games, but Purdue is continuing to play well, and that's everything you want at this point. So send me some questions, guys. I'll record another podcast here later this week. We will talk about Purdue, Texas. We'll talk about the other matchup there in the West Regional. look big picture, look back on what has been an awesome first weekend of the NCAA tournament. And so be sure to follow on Twitter at Boilers Beyond. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Talk to you later this week, guys. Take care. This episode was brought to you by me. Yes, me. When I'm not watching sports, or more accurately, talking about them, I'm talking insurance with the people of Indiana. As an agent with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, I want to help you protect what you've worked hard to achieve. From home and auto to life and business insurance, I'm here to help you. Give me a call at 317-846-5861 or email me, jordan.jones@infarmbureau.com, and let's protect you from life's everyday risks.